In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix npm's permissions so that you can install npm packages globally without using sudo. If your permissions are not set up properly, you'll get this e-access error when you try to install things globally. I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can fix this, and you'll want to watch this video all the way through before moving ahead just to see which of these ways is best for you. It might also be a good idea to back up before you start. So one way to fix this error is to make it possible for the user that you're using to write to the correct directories. For those who are new to file permissioning, I'm just going to introduce the concept really quick. To see all the files in a directory, I can use the ls command, and if I use the -l flag, that will show me the permissions. So I have a file named file.txt, and the user that owns this is the root user. To the left of this, I can see who has what permissions on this file. The first three letters indicate what the owner can do with this file, so root can read and write this file. Now let's check to see what user we're using with the whoami command. So the name of the user that I'm currently running as is your_user. So this means that I can't edit file.txt. It's not writable to me because I don't have write access. I'm not the owner, and only the owner has write access on this. But I can change the ownership of this file so that I am the owner and then I would have write access. To do this, I just type sudo chown for change owner, and then my username, and then the name of the file. So now when we run ls-l, you'll see that my user is the owner of this file. So what we need to do is change ownership of the directory that npm writes to be the user that we're running as. The default directory that npm writes to is /user/local, and you can find this out using npm config get prefix. I'm going to look at the permissions specifically of the node modules directory in there, but we'll be changing the permissions on the parent directory. I'm going to use an A flag in order to show all hidden files, including the permissions on this directory and its parent. So you'll see that the root user owns all of these, and we'll want to change this to the user that you're running as. All that we need to do is do sudo chown, and we're going to use -R to run it recursively, which means all of the directories inside of it as well. And then you put your username, and then the directory, which is /user/local. Now, some of you might be concerned about changing the ownership of every single directory inside of user local. You can usually get away with just changing 3 directories. That is the lib node modules directory, the bin directory, and the share directory. There are some cases where you might not want to change permissions on any of these directories at all. For example, if you are using a machine that you're sharing with people who have other users on the same machine. In this case, you can configure the directory to be something different than user local. To show you this, I'm going to create an npm global directory inside of my users directory. And I'm going to cd into that directory and then use pwd to print the working directory. Now all I need to do is set my prefix to be this directory. And I do that with npm config set prefix. When I run the npm install -g command, you'll see that it does download it to the correct directory and also creates a command for me in the correct bin directory. Now let's try running this command. It says it can't find the command. And that's because we don't have this directory in our system's path. This means that our system doesn't know that it should be looking for commands that are in this directory. We can solve this really easily. Just open up the profile that you have in your user's home directory, and then add a line. Export path equals the directory of the bin directory, the full path of the bin directory, and then a colon, $path. It's important that you put this $path in there. What that's doing is adding the existing system path that has all of your other commands in it to this path, so you still have access to all your other commands. And now I need to refresh the variables so that the system knows what the new path is. And I do this using source, then the name of the file. And now when I run jshint, you'll see that it actually knows what command it is. So those are the different ways that you can fix the permissions for npm. You can change your ownership over user local or the directories inside of it, or you can change the config prefix. Now that you have your permissions set up properly, you can check out our channel for other videos on working with NPM.